How's it going, guys? I'm Connor from Running Warehouse. Today I'm here with Danny Orr, General Manager of Performance Running at New Balance, and today we're diving in deep on a shoe that maybe hasn't got quite as much love as it has deserved over the past couple years. We're talking about the New Balance Fresh Foam X Vongo V5. Now, the Vongo has gone through a lot over the past couple years, and it's always been known as having this unique stability story, and now with version 5, we've got some pretty big changes, and one being it has a very similar design aesthetic to the 1080. Can you talk to us a little bit about the inspiration behind this shoe and some of those unique stability features?
Yeah, you know, the 1080 has been such a success story for our brand, and I think, you know, a lot of people that we'll be talking to today have also fallen in love with the 1080, maybe more recently from the V10. You know, we know that shoe has got a ton of new runners in it. It's really progressive. It's skewed a lot younger for us, a lot more female consumers, all things that we've been really excited about and we were pushing for on that original brief around the 1080. And I think one of the biggest things we continually hear is that it's now Fresh Foam X. And the cushioning and the underfoot feel and just how good that shoe looks and feels on the foot is something that consumers are constantly talking about when it comes to that product. And for us, when that made us think about our other premium stability shoe, we really wanted to create this 1-2 punch with the 1080 for neutral runners and then the Vongo allowing those consumers that need a little bit more stability to really benefit from all the things that are so great about the 1080.
Now, when we talk about stability shoes, those traditional medial posts have been kind of a staple for years. Can you talk a little bit about the actual posting in the shoe? Does it have a traditional post, or what is going to set the stability features apart in the Vongo V5?
Yeah, you know, I think there's two things there. You know, one is that we really studied the platform again, going back to the 1080 just a little bit. And if we were going to build a stability shoe off what are the guts of the 1080, is that we wanted to really make sure that the profiles were really similar, the centerline heights were really similar, and then add to some of those features that you're talking about in terms of the needs of that stability runner. So the two biggest changes there is that we've gone wider in the midfoot. So we're 5 millimeters wider in the Vongo than we were in the 1080. And then the other one is the really unique posting system that you were just mentioning there. So the way that it works is that we have two different hardnesses of EVA pellets that make up the midsole. All of the white material that you can see here on the sidewall and around the medial side as well is exactly the same foam that's in the 1080, which is a 45 hardness. And then in the speckled area, we used the second pellet and the second hardness of foam and interspersed those two things together to create the gradient stability that is so prevalent in the Vongo V5. And essentially you take that 45 hardness pellet and that 60 hardness pellet and you pour those two things into the mold. Those two materials then start to mesh together, and what it creates is it creates this range which goes from 45 to 46 to 47. You get progressively harder all the way towards the medial side where you get that full 60 hardness where that runner really needs it from a stability standpoint. So it's definitely a unique way of thinking about stability, and the whole notion there is to try and create a gradient. It isn't that your foot hits this wall that you may have done in a more traditional setup. It really is working in a way that is progressive, modern, and really focused on that gradient.
Yeah, and I think this unique take is going to make the shoe feel a little bit more natural on foot and maybe not feel as bulky and stiff as a traditional stability shoe. But can you talk a little bit more about how stable this shoe actually is? Is this going to be for moderate overpronators, severe overpronators? Can a neutral runner use this shoe?
Yeah, we really think that this shoe is going to sit in a sweet spot for those pronated runners. You know, we talk about overpronated. We'd probably in this instance talk about pronated. We do feel that the modern interpretation here, that kind of notion of gradient stability that I was talking about, is going to make it appeal to a really broad set of consumers that, you know, are looking for a little bit of safety, a little bit of security, and a little bit of confidence when it comes to a shoe like this and the ability for it to provide the level of stability that they need.
And I think the final part we want to talk about with this shoe is the upper. Can you talk about the stability features in the upper and what's going to set it apart from maybe a shoe like the 1080?
Yeah, I think maybe the real benefit is that it is again really similar to that 1080, you know, and the flexibility, the softness on the foot, and the really premium, beautiful knit that exists in the 1080 product is what we used here as well in the Vongo. So in relation to the vamp and the saddle, you know, we have that same level of stretch and that real premium nature from the knit that we have here. and then we've reinforced that with an embroidery structure through the saddle of the shoe. And you can see how that embroidery on the lateral side is really nice and open, and a really nice design detail that sits around the logo. And then if you flip that around and look at on the medial side, you'll see that there's more embroidery. The space between the embroidery is really closed up, and the idea there is that we have a secondary technology here that's going to provide the right level of stability and the right level of lockdown for this consumer in the midfoot.
Well, Danny, I'm going to be honest, I think stability shoes have been a little bit dull in the past couple of years. There really hasn't been that much innovation in this department. So I think with a shoe like the Vongo V5, and especially taking a lot of those features of a favorite shoe of mine, the 1080, I think we've got a winner right here. If people are looking to get this shoe on their feet, when can they have it?
So the launch of this shoe is July. So we're working towards an early July launch date. And again, it's one of these things that we're just so excited to get it into the market. It's something that we've been working on as a brand for a long time, and it's something that we know that this type of runner is really going to love. And to your point, it's definitely a modern take on what stability looks like today.
Perfect. Well, whether you're a moderate overpronator, a severe overpronator, or just maybe a neutral runner who is looking for a more stable option, I think the Vongo V5 is going to be a great option. It'll be available here at runningwarehouse.com.